Hey everybody, what's up? Hope your day is going well. Mine is going pretty good. I got tons of parts in the mail today. Went to Hobo Freight and Lowe's and Tractor Supply to look for some more supplies. I've been doing a lot of things on the Jeep lately, and I'll just get right into it and show you guys. I got a lot of things hanging around in here. I had some chain that I bought a while ago. This chain to actually hang the T12 lights when I did repair those eventually, which I still haven't done. But I'm using them for these little painting bars that somebody had in here to hang things and paint stuff with. It makes it so much easier to paint things like this. My gas tank was held up over here. Got a differential cover right there. This is the gas tank strap. There's a couple coats of rust reformer on here now. I cleaned it all up with a wire wheel, so it was nice, clean, bare metal. So this should last another 30 years, so at least, if you take care of the car. Gas tank is all painted. It's all done and ready. Can't wait to get this thing in here. I haven't put it in yet because I had to wait for the strap. And B, I need to do the leaf springs, and it'd be easier with the tank out of the way to do them. So this is the front diff cover for the Dana 44. It's interesting is this cover is really thick. The Dana 30s, Dana 30s on my 98 Grand Cherokees, the covers are really thin. And the Dana 44 in the rear of this vehicle is super thin. I mean, I've never seen a thin cover like that. It was so flexible. I'm guessing it's because the front cover is, when you're going forward and you hit things, it's to protect your differential. I mean, that makes sense, but this is like 3/16 thick. I've never seen a diff cover that thick before. I kind of wish the rear would be that thick too, but oh well. Cleaned it up, painted it with some rust reformer. Got a couple coats on there already. It's been drying for 24 hours. And I'm going to be painting it with AMC blue. Got the transmission cover off. Not going to paint that AMC blue, I don't think. I might. I mean, it's not technically AMC. I mean, neither are the diffs, but maybe I'll paint it blue. But I need to clean up. I got all the chunky oil buildup that was on it, most of it off. Shit, that's what I forgot today. I forgot some brake cleaner. So regardless, I'm going to take, my wire wheel, clean it up. I got a new one, new wire wheel. And then I'll take some acetone, wipe it off, paint it with rust reformer, and then maybe AMC blue. We'll see. But it's a TH400, as you know, on these Jeeps. I've never taken a TH400 pan off before, but it's pretty deep, at least compared to the 727. The 727 pans are like half an inch or an inch deep. They're very shallow. No metal chunks in the pan, which is good. The transmission fluid was kind of it was red still, but it was kind of an orangish color. Didn't have any particular smell to it, so that's good. Lots of metal dust in the pan per se, and I noticed there's no magnet. So I guess GM cheaped out in the 70s by not putting magnets in this. That's a little odd. I don't know why, but anyway, so some of the goodies I got at the store today. Let's see. Got some hose clamps. Always need those. I always salvage the ones that I have and can never find other ones, so I decided to buy some of those. It's cheap, $7 in Harbor Freight. And if that was my horse, if you're wondering, that was not me. She must be. There they are, sticking their heads in the door. Let me zoom in there real quick. You can see them both standing right there. So I guess she's sticking her tongue at me, So anyway, got some reciprocating saw blades. Wasn't sure which ones are better, Hercules or Bauer. The Bauer had 4 blades. This one only had 3. Claims it's 4 times longer life. The other one was 3 times. So I just got these instead. I need them because I can guarantee you when I take off the leaf spring eye bolts, back there, none of the bolts are just going to slide out. I mean, If I get lucky, I might be able to pound them out with a sledgehammer or something, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to cut them all out, just like I did my Wagoneer. And that includes the leaf spring mount to the frame that holds the shackle. I'm probably going to have to cut the outer part of that off just to get the shackle out. So I had to do that on the Wagoneer, and I'm probably going to have to do that on this one. So that's why I needed those. Let's see, what else did I get? Obviously a new wire wheel, and I got the leaf spring bolts. So you need 9/16, 4.5. To be honest, 4 inches will work. The only problem with 4 inches is the nut is going to be like threaded in right at the end, and there's really going to be no bolt sticking out, but it should be right at the end, which is fine. You know what I mean? I've done that before in my Wagoneer, and for the last 7 years, it's been fine. It's actually kind of hard to find 4.5 bolts locally. I can order them online, but I want this done now. You know what I mean? So I also got some 5-inch bolts because all they had were 3 5-inch and 3 4.5, and I needed 6, or sorry, 3 4 and 3 5. So that's 6 right there. Bunch of washers, of course, and the reason why I got a gazillion washers, I mean, I got like 30 different washers for 9/16. I got, damn this, and this is the, damn magnet. This is the magnet that I got at AutoZone. Titan ceramic block. It's the same type of magnet that's in the oil pans. It's like that porous ceramic type magnet. It's not a neodymium magnet, but it's super strong. This thing was on sale, like clearance. They were getting rid of them, and I got it for $1. $1 for 2 of these magnets, and look how strong they are. Yeah, so that's definitely one of them, at least, is going in the oil pan. The transmission pan. To be honest, I could probably put 2 in there. If they had a couple packs, I probably would have done that. But I'm going to take this second magnet, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So this is the diff cover that I've already painted and I've already refilled. So that's AMC blue. On camera, it looks more blue, but in person, it's more of a green blue. So try to imagine a more greenish color in there. Unfortunately, the camera just shows it as blue. So, but there's no magnet on the diff cover. It's like a rubber plug. Older ones, I guess, had rubber plugs. Newer ones have screws or like a big bolt with a magnet on the end. When I took that cover off and drained the diff fluid, there was a ton of metal filings in the oil. I mean, it was like anti-seize. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys have ever worked with anti-seize, but it literally looked like that. It was so thick with metal shavings. The diff, I think, is fine. Only has 80,000 miles on it, but to be honest, I don't think they were ever serviced. So this magnet is actually the perfect size to pull the rubber plug off and stick inside and stick to the cover. Debating on doing that or just sticking it on the outside of the cover. The outside of the cover on this one is really thin, and this magnet is very strong, so it should be strong enough in theory to pick up some metal filings, but I'm probably going to try to stick it inside the diff cover. You know, there has to be some kind of magnet in there. Just, you know what I mean? Like, basically stick it through the hole right here. The hole's bigger on the rear one. And then kind of slide it, you know, into the back like that or whatever. That should be okay, I think. I don't think any gearing will get in the way of that. So, yeah, that looks... Let's see. That should be fine, right? Because the main gear is right here, so there's nothing in this spot. So, we'll see what happens. So, if that doesn't work, then I'll just stick it in the transmission pan. But, what else did I get? Empty box. Why is that box empty? Oh, here we go. These are the shackles for the rear. All the SJ shackles, for the rear anyway, are identical to the XJ shackles. So if you need shackles for your Grand Wagoneers, your J10, J20, Cherokees, all all you have to do is just look for an XJ shackle. They're cheap. This was from Crown on Amazon for like 18 bucks or something like that. So, looks to be fairly good quality. I read some of the reviews where some of these rabbit ears on here were kind of bent or whatever. Not too much of a huge deal. You can just bend them back. So, yeah, that's the update. I'm not sure what else to talk about. Painting, oil pans off, doing all the fluid changes, yada, yada, yada. Oh, leaf springs, and then I'll let you guys go real quick because I know it's getting long. I got the second leaf spring, so these are the 97 485s, the ones that are supposed to go on the 7-foot bed, the Cherokees, and the Wagoneers. This one supposedly will not work on an 8-foot J10 or J20, but as I said, it will work. It's just off by 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch forward, or sorry, 3/4 of an inch back. So that means it's going to be pushing my axle. I mentioned this many times. It's going to be pushing the axle back 3/4 of an inch. It's not a big deal. This is actually only 4 inches right here. This is actually like 5 inches. So the axle is not even centered to begin with. So once I put those leaf springs on, the axle will actually be centered. It'll be off by like 0.25 inches. That's it. The main issue with this is the brake line is already stretched to the limit for some reason. I don't know why. So I'm actually going to have to take the brake line off the frame in the center right here where it's like, you know, sitting inside of a hole. And I'm going to have to move it over. When I do that, then I'll have like 2 or 3 inches of slack on the brake line. No issue. Thankfully, I can do that because the guy who did the brake lines on this car, the metal brake lines, he put a lot of extra brake line. He did like a little swirl like that, a little loop. So I have like a foot of extra brake line, so I'm able to move it back a foot if I want to. You know what I mean? So because I'm able to move it back, it gives me plenty of slack. And to be honest, if I did a lift on this car, I still would be okay because of the extra slack that that guy gave me. So I might have to change the ones in the front, but the ones in the rear are fine. So anyway, just going to roll with these leaf springs. Oh yeah, one more part I forgot to mention. Where the hell are they? Oh, here we go. I got my U-bolts. Factory U-bolts are 7 inches, I think, 7.5 inches. That's not really long enough, to be honest, because if I do want to do a lift at one point, like putting, like, say, a 1 or 2 inch block, if you only have like a 1/2 inch at the top up here, then you need to get new U-bolts. So I decided to get longer U-bolts, and all they had were 9/16 by 3 inches, which is, you know, from bolt to bolt, and 9.5 inches long. And unfortunately, 9.5 inches is way too long. So when the U-bolt is on here, and then the axle is where my fingers are, I did the measurements, and the threads are actually going to stick out beyond the leaf spring, kind of like that, about an inch beyond, almost an inch. At least if I used the factory springs, because these are 485s, and they have that thick overload in the back, it actually makes up about 1/2 inch. So the threading will be like right at the tippy top, if this thing will focus. The threading will be like, so basically the leaf spring top will be right where my finger and my thumb is. So to offset that and to offset the stretching, you already have one washer that goes on there, but I'm going to add 2 more washers. So I know you really shouldn't maybe do that, but I don't think there's anything in the book that says you can't. So I'm going to add 3 washers, just like that. I'm going to stack them on here, so that way there's enough threading for the nut to actually pull and make sure that everything is all tight and stuff like that. So that's the only problem. So if you do get something like this, don't get 9.5 inch U-bolts. Try to get ones that are 8 inches, because the threading doesn't go down far enough on the 9.5 inches. So it would work just fine if I had like a 1 inch lift block, but unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm just going to have to stack washers in order to get enough threading so I can make it tight enough, because you also got to remember the U-bolts will stretch and then you got to retighten. So it should work, barely, but it should work. And of course, down the road, when I do lift this thing, which I probably will do, I'll just get front springs lift and put blocks in the back. There's no point in getting rear lift springs when I have brand new springs here. I could just put a 2-inch block and just lift it up 2 inches, you know what I mean? So, and in doing so, then this leaf spring will work, or this leaf spring U-bolt will work. Now, another problem is, because it's so freaking long, and it's actually not 9.5 inches. I measured this and it's 10 inches. So the company who sold this to me, who was it? Rough Country. They need to check their measurements, because this is not 9.5, it's 10 inches. So the problem with this is when it's bolted all up, the frame is right on top. It's literally almost touching. So once I bolt it on, I'm actually going to have to take my cutting disc, and I'm actually going to have to cut about 1 inch or 1.5 inches off, because you don't want the frame to bounce on your U-bolt, do you? I don't. So it is what it is. Sorry for the long video. I'll let you guys go. Thank you.